Okay, our yoga pose guide today is our wheel pose. Now, wheel pose, we've got to think about our quads, our hip flexors being nice and lengthened, nice and warmed up. We want to think about our glutes firing. We want to think about our upper back being nice and mobile and our shoulders being nice and mobile, as well as our wrists having a bit of a warm up. So we've got those beginner, intermediate, advanced sessions in your strength and conditioning section, but this is just for looking at the conditions of this pose. So if you're trying to get into wheel pose, give those a go. Okay, so wheel pose will be setting up much like bridge. So it's really important to have our big toes grounded, knees straight up, thighs drawing in towards one another. That's why sometimes a block is really helpful in between the inner thighs, just to make sure that everything is working inwards, that kind of like sucking feeling. Okay, so we'll be setting up, feet hips at distance apart, knees facing the ceiling, drawing these thighs in, drawing the big toes to the ground, making sure that everything is even on those feet, that we're not starting to swing these knees out to the side. How I always do, I always go up in stages just to make sure I'm concentrating on the areas of my body. So I will inhale, drive up into my bridge, just make sure everything feels strong. Are my glutes activating? Yes. Am I thinking about length underneath? Am I thinking about my thighs pulling in towards one another? Are my big toes grounding to the ground? Once I know that I'm confident, that I feel really strong here, I'll take my arms up and over, fingers facing towards my feet. Make sure my hair isn't there. Elbows straight up. We don't want them drawing out to the side because we want to be grounding through the L's of our hands. And then I'll inhale once more. And then on my exhale, I use that to push all the way up. Making sure that the hands are still grounded, big toes are still grounded, thighs are working in towards one another, and the knees aren't splaying out to the side, and that my glutes are engaged. And when I come down, tuck my chin to my chest, keep the elbows high, and come all the way down. It's important when you do a back bend of any kind that you come into a nice counter stretch, especially with a wheel, that we don't do anything too fast after. So just knock your knees in, take some nice breaths. And then something as simple as hugging the knees into the chest will feel really nice. And make sure you do a really good decompression, a nice cool down after. Okay. So if you're comfortable with that and you think you understand, go and try out the strength and conditioning for your wheel, and then flowing into our back bend focusing flows.